Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Tavern. We are super excited that you all are here. I know I say this every single week, but we have a phenomenal group of people here this week. So I am going to, without further ado, let them introduce themselves. I know we're just gonna dive right into it. MidnightXion, Sarah, we're gonna start with you.
Okay. Hi. I'm Sarah. I come from Dice Tyrants, where I play a show with Luna on Monday night, Savage Worlds of Darkness, and I'm also on their Sunday night show. It's not even at Sunday nights anymore. Chronicles of Kind. Lots of fun. You can find me on Twitter at MidnightXion. I do my best to do art and things, and yay.
And great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you saw, I pointed out in the Dice Tyrants Discord tonight, I said, now that we've had you on, we have had the entire cast of Savage Worlds of Darkness, the collective. So that's very exciting. GuiltyCosplay, let's go to you next.
Surely. Hey there, I'm GuiltyCosplay. I do cosplay things on Twitch on my own channel, but I also play tabletop RPGs on Total Party Chill. I play 5e with them every other Sunday night right now in our weird shelter-in-place reality. But I also play indie RPGs with our show called Under the Table Monday nights. Right now we're playing City of Mist, which is super cool, but try out new stuff, new and different.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We've been trying for a few weeks to get Guilty on, so I'm glad our schedules finally aligned. Sebs, let's go over to you.
Hello, I'm CurseofSebs, the werebearer of hype. I generally do reviews and try to get as many eyes on the wonderful things people do and create. And I just play lots of games, but none of it is filmed at the moment or anything. But yeah, I just get hype and wave my pom-poms. That's me.
That's all right. We still love having you. Oh my gosh. Jim the Dim, thank you so much for the all of the gift subs. That was fantastic. That's very cool. Thank you. Welcome to all the new subs. And let's see, Nerdy Chicken, let's go to you next.
Nerdy Chicken. You can find my shop at nerdychicken.ca. I, like Sebs, don't really do this too much, so you'll have to excuse me if I seem rusty. Well, it wouldn't be rusty. It would be, I don't know what I'm doing. That's it. You can.
It's all right. You're doing great.
Twitter at ChickenlyNerd, and I hope you enjoy my knowing what I'm doing. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And Jake, last but not least by any means.
Last but not least, here we go. My name is JakeStormoen. I am not a professional creative in the same way that these lovely folks are, unfortunately. I'm very impressed and a little intimidated by that, but I will try to keep it cool. Don't give me that look.
He's far more professional than any of us.
You might be the only one of us who is a professional creative.
It's true.
But maybe again.
By the end of this conversation, you might feel differently, but I work as an actor, and currently on a fantasy show called The Outpost on the CW and Sci-Fi Channel, depending on where you are in the world. And my one claim to fame in this arena is that I created a line of dice in November called Stormforged with my partners at Die Hard Dice, and they have been amazing. So I'm sure we'll talk about that at some point. I will try to talk about that at some point.
I'm going to
That's
ask
me.
you about it at some point. So
I love it.
because I am a dice goblin, so I have lots of
Perfect.
dice. And for those of you out in chat who are joining us, we will be giving away a set of Stormforged dice tonight. So stick around for the whole show. You never know when we're going to do it. Ooh. That was my attempt at being mystical. I'm very bad at it.
It was great. I was there.
Thank you. So on the subject of dice, because I have to ask this question to everybody that comes on the show, when you are playing in person with your friends and you are using your favorite set of dice, do your dice have to match?
Oh yes. Yes. Except
I'd
for
call that a big one.
I'm a matching dice person, except for my D6.
Oh yeah.
I have a lot. Yeah, it's like shot glasses for me. I have a lot of commemorative D6s and like novelty D6.
Okay.
I like
Gotcha.
using silly ones of those, but other than that, I always play with the matching set.
Yeah. I know. I'm a matching dice person myself.
I tend to be matching dice set as well. And I try very hard to, as many do, have the dice match the character a little bit that I'm playing. So I think that's where, for me, matching dice comes in more than having to be of the same set. It just happens to be because I enjoy using it because it kind of feels like that character.
Yeah. There was one person I was talking to. Oh yeah.
No, keep talking. I'll show.
There was one person I was talking to one time who was like, my dice all have to match, but I use like a blue set when they're doing frost damage and a red set when they're doing fire damage and
That's awesome.
a whatever color set when it's this type of damage. And I was like, I love all of my matching dice. I cannot have them all out at the same time.
Right, that's just it. That's cool though.
So
Yeah.
intense. I love it.
I know. I was like,
How not matchy I am.
oh my gosh.
Wow.
All are in the
Cool, though.
same thing.
Oh my gosh.
I
Chaos.
love it.
Treasure trove.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is.
It's like a treasure trove, but it bugs me.
Yeah.
I just held up a set of Warhammer dice just to prove my point.
I know this was the set that I picked up at probably the last con that will happen at all this year. This is my set that came from PAX East
Don't
this
say
year.
that.
Oh, that's
So,
pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Very
gonna say
nice.
these are my favorite ones. They almost always roll 20s. They're like a sparkling
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, my favorite set is actually over in a wooden case next to my bed because they're metal color changing dice. So
It's those
yeah.
dice.
Yes. Yep. They change color. They're blue when they're cold, and when they get warm, they turn purple.
That's cool.
Now, Luna, do you play with your metal dice on stream, or do you find that that's way too noisy? Because I've tried once, and the DM was like, "Seriously."
They're like, what's
No,
that thunder? What?
Exactly.
We actually here on How I Nerd, we actually use Fantasy Grounds, and it has a dice roller built into it. So we don't use real dice. We use the virtual ones that are built into the game. Although once, actually, when Sarah and I were playing our Monday night campaign, I got locked out of Fantasy Grounds, or somebody got locked out. The DM might have. I don't remember. Anyway,
I think his internet crashed for a bit.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, the DM's internet crashed, and so we lost our connection to Fantasy Grounds. So he had just called for some type of roll, and I was like, "Wait, I've got a D8 right here." So thankfully, I keep a set at my desk. I keep a set next to my bed, and all the rest are downstairs by my table. So.
Well, I was going to ask, how was everyone feeling in dealing with us all being inside and being on computer? Some people were insist on it being in Roll20 or Fantasy Ground. I'm like, I just want that sound of, I want to be able to roll my dice. It's really cool using the extensions Beyond 20, so you can click on D&D Beyond character and make it happen. But nothing beats that sound, the clickety clack.
I like the clickety clack as well.
I do miss actually rolling dice, but I know for me, we've been playing our Sunday night campaign for close to a year now, so I'm kind of used to both at this point.
My
fair.
homebrew
Also, I'm
campaign, we
sacrilegious.
play over like Zoom or some other Google Hangouts or something with Roll20, and we all, I think at this point, use our actual dice, and we just announce what the roll was. But we're all friends, so we know we're not gonna. And half the fun is when you get a low roll and you're like, oh. I rolled
Right.
a 7.
Yeah.
I'm a druid, and my survival check was a 7. Like, you're like, cool, man.
Yeah, that water seems fine to drink. Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we've all used our actual dice, despite the kind of limitations that are in place right now.
I'm
Can't
in
hide
a-
that face.
Oh
Like when you
yeah.
get a good roll or a bad roll, like there is no poker face. Like you said, you get that like a natural one, and like
You're like, oh, facepalm, but let's do
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
I'm
Sorry,
playing
Mike,
a
you were gonna
campaign
say
it's the
by.
fudge that rolls.
No, yeah, I was saying I'm playing a campaign by Zoom right now too. Not on stream, but just with some friends since quarantine in California started, and we are just using Zoom. We're not using Roll20 or anything. We're just
Oh, cool.
we like send around PDFs of our character sheets, and we're rolling physical dice and making it work, stumbling through, but it's been fun so far.
Yeah. Theater of the mind kind of stuff. That's always fun, though.
I had bought some Dwarven Forge terrain literally
I love their stuff.
while I was overseas before quarantine came into effect, thinking I was going to come back and it would be ready and like my group would love me for it. And now we're all in our own homes, and I was like, oh, I'll get to use this terrain soon. Eventually. I know. So it's like I took it out, I set it up, and I put it away again.
Ah.
Yeah.
Just trying every different combination you can before
have.
you get
Believe
to play.
me, it's beautiful. It's great. But
I had the first session of a new game like maybe 2 or 3 weeks before everything got locked
Okay.
down, and as part of it being the first session, our DM actually gifted everyone a set of dice that matched their character, and it was so freaking nice. It was
That's
so
cool.
adorable. Yeah, and now it's like I'll
Your
see you
DM
guys
is
in
great.
Roll20 in a month.
Yeah.
You just gotta use it. You gotta use the
I
good
know.
ones now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so nice. I've never had a DM give me a gift. And then I was like,
Very
oh,
sweet.
dang. I should have been giving all my DMs gifts this whole time.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, I've learned that if you're nice to the DM is nice to you. If you're a jerk to the DM, they will threaten to kill your character on a regular basis. Yep,
They do that anyway, though.
it's true.
I mean, that's half the fun.
Yeah, it's true.
They say it's not them, it's the BBEG, but it is them. 'Cause it's me when I'm doing it.
That is funny. Yeah, it's
My DM, I get the roll dexterity check. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that means you messed up.
yeah. I know Mike is our DM on our Sunday night show, and every week he starts the game and he's like, so who wants to see rocks fall? And we're like, ah.
Sarah raised her hand.
Yeah,
Yep. I like seeing rocks fall.
I know. She's trying to get us all killed. It's true.
Hey, the one time I'm not trying to get you all killed is SWAT.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, so some of the stuff, I mean, we here on the How I Nerd channel, we have a Savage Worlds campaign, and we have 2 Pathfinder campaigns. So I'm curious to know if you guys have like a favorite system that you have played, or if there's a system that you've played that you're like, yeah, I'm never going near that one again.
I'll let you guys take it from here. We all know this is.
Well, yeah, Luna, I was just going to ask, could you, I'm actually not familiar with the Savage World system. Can you just give us 30 seconds? Like, what is that like?
It's a lot faster than like D&D and Pathfinder. You know, it's
It's a lot faster because the combat is wounds based.
Yeah.
So
you don't have hit
instead of
points.
having
Huh.
a ton of hit points, you have a chance of dying in one shot.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you-
Most enemies go down in one hit and
Huh.
wound. So
Yeah. And you can have like exploding dice and stuff like that. So instead of having like a crit and a
It's
crit
like a
check,
crit.
you can roll like a d6 and end up
Mhm.
with, oh, I don't know, a 23 and pop somebody's head off.
I
So
think
my
we
God.
hit a 38,
Wait,
yeah, I
what?
think that
So
happened
if you
one
roll
time.
a 6, do you keep adding
and
to it?
then
Is that
Yeah.
how it
an
works?
arm got ripped off.
Yeah.
And then it happened again, and a head got popped off.
Yeah.
Sounds like a laugh.
Ridiculous.
It's a real good.
Oh,
old
it's
time.
hilarious.
It's got a
Okay.
really good character building system, like the way you build points, and you have like hindrances and edges. Like there's
Yep.
a really cool, like the way you actually approach your
Yes.
character, like giving them negative things, and it's something that once I played it, I kind of try and bring that idea into every other system because it's a really cool idea. Because everyone just wants to be the best, but it's nice offsetting that sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's a neat system. It's taken me some getting used to, but it's been very cool to learn.
They really put it forward as being like agnostic as well. Like there's so many things that go on top of it. There's like East Texas University, which is kind of like a Buffy the Vampire supernatural kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
Deadlands. There's just so many different. It kind of really puts forward.
Yeah.
Play it in any way you want.
Pretty much. The campaign that we're in on Mondays is the Savage Worlds rule set using the World of Darkness lore. So it's literally just lifting the lore out of one rule set and dropping it into another one, and it's interesting, but it really, I mean, it works. And then our campaign that's here on How I Nerd on Monday nights, the Neural Nexus Zero, which is our 1980s cyberpunk campaign, is also using the same rule set. It's also using Savage Worlds, so it's very adaptable.
That's so interesting.
That's super cool that you can bring that into so many different game settings and different lore and things like that. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking. I know
Pop
I'm
people's heads off everywhere. That's beautiful. It's great.
I think it works so well
Cool.
because it's a classless system. And so like
okay.
I have like a small PDF of it, and it's for a more what's it called, medieval, like fantasy, like similar to D&D, but it doesn't have classes or races. That comes with the setting that you play in. And so your race, and you take abilities, that's what builds your character.
That's
cool.
As well as the hindrances and the edges.
Yeah.
That is very cool. When you're saying hindrances and edges, I'm kind of guessing that that's sort of like the tags that that City of Mist uses, which is a system that I guess I've been playing for like 2 months now, but still feel very new at it.
Yeah.
But super enjoying that. So I guess your question a while ago, Luna, was what is our favorite system? Pathfinder is like my very favorite, but City of Mist is so interesting, and so it's like given me this desire to dig into more indie systems and like, you know, the more narrative stuff. And I know people love Fate, but you know, City Mist is sort of inspired by the Powered by the Apocalypse setup. So I know it. Once you get one of those, it's kind of easy to pick up others. So I think that's what I'm going to be exploring next, looking for my new favorites.
Very cool.
But I should be asking Sebs about which I should
Yeah,
which I should check
true.
out.
Sebs knows all about these.
See, I'm all for that. I do a lot of D&D 5e. It's a big thing I play, but like recently, they just finished crowdfunding Meganomia, which I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's the one with the hard name to pronounce. It's that uses Fate, but you're all Renaissance wizard, kind of in this like magical Renaissance like Europe, and it's
Cool.
really good fun. Got to play with the one of the designers, and that was amazing. Weird one, Domains horror. That's some real dark. Really takes it takes that kind of like Cthulhu and other kind of horror stuff. But really goes deep in it. Just trying to play all the things at the moment. My favorite game that I haven't yet played that I'm dying to is I Hunt. Olivia Hills. It's is it like monster killing in like the gig economy? It's kind of like takes that kind of supernatural Buffy thing, but it's like really. I've been reading the books, the actual novels that go with it, and like it's real. It kind of really like how difficult it is living and like getting by. And it's almost like the monsters are like second to actually trying to get through life, which is really interesting.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That's so interesting.
Anybody else have a favorite or one that they don't like?
I'm just in a 5e homebrew right now, so that's really all I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
But now I'm intrigued and curious by all of these that you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Is this the part of the show where we dump on 4th edition?
Sure.
I haven't
know
played
what you
4th
have
edition,
to
but
say.
please
That's all I've
explain
gotta
to me
say.
the horrible thing that I missed because I'm so young.
Yeah. I went straight from 3.5 to 5th. So
We
I think
kind
I
of
did too,
tickled the
actually.
starter set.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have to say, I have one of my most enjoyable experiences playing the 4th edition starter set, just because there's a dragon in one of the red boxes, I think it is. And my partner, it was like the first time they were DMing, and they just brought this sassy like dragon to life. It was taking no shit, and it was
That's
just.
cool.
that's amazing.
It's like
I love
just
it.
like a top tier role play moment, like the first time we ever played. It was really good.
And those are the moments you remember too. Like those are what make all of these games so much fun.
Absolutely.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part is when you, like I said, I've been playing with the same people actually for over 30 years now. And
Wow.
What?
yeah,
That's so
I know.
cool.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
No,
That's how you ended up in
fantastic.
a 2nd edition
Cause for
campaign for so long.
For 30 years. But
That's got to be some kind of Guinness World Record or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, there's got to be people older than me out there somewhere, please.
Oh, okay. Don't twist it and turn it into that. But
No,
go ahead. Sorry.
that's just me and the way I think. But the amazing thing is, we still have memories of when we played back when we were, 15, 16, 20, 30.
Yeah.
And they're visceral to us. They're real. Like, we remember them like they happened to us. And we talk about, oh, remember that time that our character did this? And see, we don't say your character. We say their names when we're talking about it. Remember that time when Blue got together with it, and we all go, yeah, that was so funny. Some of the funniest things that have ever happened to us have happened to our characters and not us.
I love it though. No, but it's a community experience, and it's a joint experience that you do go through together. So that's very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So that actually brings up a
Awesome.
question that just came in from chat. Mac Jackal Ranger wants to know, what was a good moment in a campaign that you had to stop abruptly and reflect on?
Huh.
Not necessarily good, but second session into Pathfinder, first spring of combat, a Cerber and my half-orc bard went down, just dead, gone.
Oh,
And that's the moment I got to reflect on for a while.
yeah.
Oh no.
Jeez.
But like you say, you remember them. And
Yeah.
Thonak, who replaced him, is still one of my favorite characters I've ever played. So, yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Definitely.
something
Because
good
that
came
doesn't
from
always
that.
happen
But
either. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
sometimes you say goodbye to a character and you're like, I wasn't ready. I
Yeah.
wasn't ready to say goodbye.
Uh,
I had the guilt. I had a character that I like. She was kind of too pure. We were called the Lawful Good, which is a very disingenuous name for the party, and she kind of nearly got everyone killed for just being so lawful good, and like it just wasn't working party dynamic. So I said to the DM, I wanted to change character, and then like having it set up, not realizing that she was just gonna die in a combat. I'm like, oh no. Again, I'm so happy to be playing Locke, but I now had to taken too long, taken too soon.
well, Sebs, what did you think was going to happen? She was just going to like go live on a farm?
Hey, Thonak just went wandering.
Isn't that what happens?
I mean, that could
Isn't
happen.
that what happens to D&D characters?
I think
People in
so.
anime
I don't
don't.
think they actually die. They just go to the farm and they're okay there.
It's
To
where
be
they
fair,
go
she
and
did come
retire.
back.
It's the farm for retired adventurers.
That's how I stop crying at night. I just
Yeah.
think about what they're doing.
Actually, I would love to play that campaign. Like the octogenarian adventurers who thought they'd
Oh!
retired, and then like someone's trying to take
Oh
the
my God.
farm.
I love that.
I love that idea.
Sign me up.
I love that idea of taking
Oh, that'd
these
be
amazing
fun.
characters when they were younger, and now they've been retired for 20 years, and they're like, "Oh God."
Okay, so that is it. This group right here, that's the cast, and we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that going.
Oh shoot, we gotta. I guess I'm in 5 games now.
Right?
Yeah.
Surprise! Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that would be
that'd be fun,
hilarious, though. I'm trying to
So
think.
I have a. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I've had characters that have been killed off, but none of them were. I mean, one was quite maddening, but it wasn't necessarily something that I had to stop my game and reflect on. I did rage quit for the rest of the session, though. So
Many,
Not much reflecting there.
no.
many years ago, my my character, her name is Fallon, and she was like just a kick-ass, don't stop for anything. And there was one member of our group who was a little questionable. She had sort of caught him, taking things out of people's pockets and hiding things, and so she really didn't like that. Anyway, we were on a flying ship, and we were over this desert, and a purple worm came out of the sand and grabbed him off the deck and pulled him down into the sand. And I was the leader of the group, sort of, and they were like, "Well, what are we gonna do? We need to stop the ship and get him." I was like, "No, I don't think so."
Oh.
That's
So I was like, "Nah, he's
And then
dead."
you look across the table and you're like, yeah.
Just
My
took
friend-
their sheet and tore it up in front of them.
right.
My friend
Jeez.
reminds me all the time. You remember the purple worm? Do you remember that? And I was like, "Yeah," and I regret not a minute.
Yeah. So my character that got killed off, this actually is kind of a running joke for me now because I end up telling this story almost every week.
Oh boy.
She was a centaur, and the only person in the group that was strong enough to open a sarcophagus in the room that we were in. And so of course, like the party explores the room, and we find whatever we find, and finally we're like, well, all we have left is a sarcophagus. I'm the only one that can open it. So I open the sarcophagus, and out pops a vampire who casts Slay Living. And I drop dead. Well, my now ex-husband was the DM. So I jokingly say that was part of the grounds for our divorce.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Serious stuff.
So did that cause you to reflect or him to reflect though?
Hopefully him, because but I was pretty mad. I mean, like my friends
Oh
at the
my
table were
gosh.
like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was pretty unfortunate because she was a really fun character to play. I mean, for the fact that she was a centaur and, she's all like, I'm a centaur and I'm strong and I do this, I do that. But she could not for the life of her go up and down stairs because horse feet. I mean,
Yeah.
I play as a very socially awkward centaur druid right now. and
Ah!
It's amazing.
Nice.
It's amazing. I love it. It's so fun.
Centaurs!
Yeah.
I'm running a centaur barbarian.
I love it.
That's awesome.
How did what?
In a dungeon crawler, no less.
Half this group? That's crazy.
That's so funny.
We're the underdogs. We're the
Yeah.
under horse.
I love it.
I don't.
I love it.
Y'all are making sure that the worlds of fantasy are ADA accessible, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need ramps.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is
Absolutely.
just the first question.
need
every
ramps.
time I go into a new area, I'm like, cool. How tall are these ceilings? And
Yeah.
is it all one level or?
Yeah.
Get myself turned around.
Use of,
We have to
of
get out.
Druidcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you've played not as a druid, because at least I have wild shape. So in horrible scenarios, I can just turn into, something and
horse.
hop in somebody's pocket or something. Yeah, or turn into a horse. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's I went through the same thing playing my centaur right now, on just kind of going back to the ADA compliant thing. Actually, our Sunday night campaign, part of a side quest that we're working on is we need to find components to make prosthetic hands for somebody.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was an NPC character that was introduced by somebody in our community, and his character had become good friends with the party, and then we thought he was a ship captain. His ship got blown up. We thought he had died, and then found out that he had been kidnapped, and while he was kidnapped had the majority of his fingers cut off. And yeah, it was brutal. We have a harsh DM, and love you, Mike. Don't kill my character on Sunday. And
Disclaimer. Yeah.
yeah, right. And so part of our quest right now is to find these components to make like magical prosthetics for his hands, so he can have working hands again.
That's super. That's fun though. That's super cool. What a fun goal to work toward together.
Yeah, when we remember to do it. Yeah.
All right.
Oh man.
I feel that.
I don't know if there's been a point in a campaign where I stopped it to reflect for a good thing, but there was definitely a one shot I played. I think this was after it was like during college. I was back home for the summer, and it was, I think, like a Friday the 13th in like June or July or August or something. And my friends and I decided it would be a great idea to stay up all night, do an all-nighter one-shot of zombie invasion, like thematic and stuff like that. By 4:30 a.m., everyone had finished their character sheets. By 5:15, we were all dead.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
What?
The DM, it was a mixture of bad rolls and like some overpowered adversaries. But yeah, by that point,
Somebody's math was off on that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By that point, there were 5 19-year-olds who had like a case of Mountain Dew in them and no sleep. And we're all just like sitting stunned around the table. And it's like,
I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Did
Guess
you just
we
all
sleep now?
Leroy Jenkins it into a zombie horde? Like, how does
We
the
were picked
whole-
off one by
how do you
one.
get TPA in,
No.
what, 45 minutes? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Mhm.
impressive.
Luckily
That
though,
sounds
you
like
can
a
find
10
them all on the
candles
farm.
Huh?
They're all
You can find them all on the farm. They're there.
Exactly. They're all
Oh
on
my
the farm.
gosh.
Anah's just looking after them.
Yeah. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at some of the other questions that have been sent to me from chat. Let's
I'm trying to
see.
look at questions
Floppy
too.
Jalopy RL would like to know, how did we all get into RPGs?
Okay, I have a fast answer for this one. I
All
think
right.
it's fast. So in junior high, I was like, it turns out my grade 8 teacher was an incredible nerd, and one of my friends found out that he also played D&D, and so they started Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition club, and that's how I got into teaching
That's
RPGs.
super cool.
There you go.
That's cool.
I think it's still surviving, kind of.
That's awesome.
Nice.
When
Oh,
you go ahead.
no, you go ahead, chicken.
Are you sure? Okay. When I was in grade 9, I knew at that point in my life that I didn't really fit in anywhere. I wasn't any particular thing, and I didn't. I don't know. I just didn't fit, you know. And a new friend came from Ontario and moved out this way to New Brunswick, and he invited me to come play with a group of people and said, I think you might like it. Maybe this is your thing. And to me, he just saved my life, I think, because I didn't really have a reason to, you know, I didn't have that many friends. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anything I really liked. But it was amazing. That night, it was like the first roll of the die, the first time you're speaking as your character, you're making an effect in the world. You can make a difference. You can do something, and it makes a change. And I was just like,
Gosh.
oh my gosh, this is the first day of my life. That's how it felt.
That's
I
so-
love that.
That's really cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's very special.
I'm getting all choked up now.
I know.
Okay, somebody else
You
talk.
get me
That's a
cooked
great
up.
story, though.
Well, this was back when nerds weren't accepted. We weren't
Yeah.
allowed to be nerds. You couldn't be excited or passionate about anything. People would just drive you right down. There was
Yeah.
you weren't allowed to do it.
Yeah.
I've never understood, like, just, yucking people's yums. Just like, if people are excited about something, how is that bad?
don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
as long as
And
the
it-
thing's not actually negative to other people.
I don't know. I never understood that myself, even while it was happening to me. I'd be like, okay, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
We have all of us now, and we love you.
We love you.
I love you
Group
guys
hug.
too.
And and thank you too for being part of the old guard, not old as in old, but like people who have been in this world for a long time
Yeah.
who are accepting of, you know, younger chickens like us,
I'm
and
so
like
excited
everyone
about
on the Twitterverse, and you know, I don't know, a lot of people love to hate on how D&D is becoming, you know, popular and stuff, and you can buy t-shirts at Hot Topic now and things like that, and blah blah blah, Critical Role. But I think it's really special to have people who have that sort of institutional knowledge of, you know, this is where the world started, you know, the world of nerdy tabletop games, and be able to bring that perspective to people who just picked it up, you know. I think that's
And
awesome.
I have
Yeah.
no patience at all for gatekeepers, and I have no patience at all for people who stand up and say, this is not the pure way that this should be.
Yeah.
What? What pure way? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It makes me angry. And when people poo-poo all over Critical Role, maybe that isn't your thing.
Yeah.
But Critical Role has created this massive juggernaut of nerds being allowed to be nerds.
Yeah.
And even awesome popular people can be nerds. You don't have to be this little you know, that's
Oh, but I am.
But you can be.
exactly right. You can be
Those of us in glasses say as we push up our glasses.
I don't know. It's not fair and it's not right. Like, why? What's wrong with it being popular and people being able to play it the way they want to play it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
there's a lot of discourse about like reflecting on things and getting into things a bit more. That's a whole another thing, and that's like that needs to be done. But yeah, just not liking people having fun or something being big is ridiculous. Like Critical Role personally isn't my thing. The battle goes way too long for me. I'm more about the role playing the story. But if you love that and people love that, it's great. Like, it doesn't have to be like black and white. If you don't like something, that doesn't make it bad.
Right.
And it's a gateway too, right? Like in the cosplay community, there was that. I was gonna say an adjective. There was that show, Heroes of Cosplay, which in like 2005 or something like that blew up this subculture into something that was in the public eye, and it was a reality TV show. And there was a big cultural shift in the community around like, are people who are just into this after they saw it on MTV or whatever as valid as us nerds who have been working on our sewing machines since before there were YouTube tutorials about how to style a wig, and we've seen that same dialogue come around of like, no, come on, we gotta give, we gotta reflect and be like thankful for all those freaking YouTube tutorials now. That's awesome. We don't have to go back into the dark ages in order to respect where we've come from as a community. I think that's is another thing. I don't think
that's any different.
Yeah.
The way I found D&D. I was invited to a game and I played it. If that hadn't happened, maybe I wouldn't have played it until this part of my life, because I'm sure I would have played it by now. But how is that any different from, I saw a TV show and I think I know who I am now. I think I know what I love. I found it. Why is their fun wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 15, it was a really important point that I'd skateboarded to the shop to buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but that means nothing now. Like that doesn't give me any cred. Like, I've left that behind.
Yeah. That's cool though. I met Tony Hawk at TwitchCon last year.
Whoa.
No kidding.
That's very
it was very cool.
It's cool.
For the 5 seconds. And then he was like, "Oh no, people have recognized me at this bar. Time to get out of here."
Do a quick 900 and leave.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then he popped onto his skateboard
just so subtle.
and out of there. So I should end that.
Pulled it out of his bag of holding, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, where else do you keep your skateboard at TwitchCon?
I don't know. So
Yeah.
Well, I played my first D&D campaign in a graveyard. We played a 2-5 one-shot of Ravenloft.
Oh,
I love Ravenloft.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It was really cool.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
How do you live up to that? How is that your first D&D experience? Ravenloft in a cemetery.
This is nowhere.
I know.
It's only down from there. I'm sorry.
No, it's been good though. The coast downhill has been very enjoyable.
Good.
On a skateboard?
On a skateboard.
Skateboard.
Very good.
Yeah. But it was cool. I was a freshman, and these seniors who had like one mutual friend heard that I was interested in D&D. They were like, "Do you want to play this, like this one shot with us?" I was like, I am way too uncool for this. Was my thought. Yeah.
Uncool.
Exactly. But I still get that feeling sometimes. I don't know about you guys, but like going into a new campaign, I get that sort of like what's it called? The pretender syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that one. Exactly. Whenever I start playing a new D&D campaign, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. What if I roll the wrong dice?
What if I make the wrong decisions?
Yeah.
Exactly. What if I
do something and everyone thinks it's stupid?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get that moment at the start of a run shot of random people, and everyone's like, am I about to start using my voice in my character?
Yeah,
It's
I
fine.
know.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it's so true. You're like,
Well, that was a
what's
hot
everybody else doing? Somebody else say something.
Yeah.
That was a hot topic on the Twitters the other day. Do you guys do character voices? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I enjoy character voices, but I always say like whatever makes you comfortable. But I
Yeah.
do enjoy a character voice.
I can't do voices to save my life, so I don't do them. I can do an Australian accent, kind of, but
Go
I
on
mean,
then.
Claudia should
Now
be
you gotta do it.
Australian.
Walk
Claudia
with
should
us,
be
come on.
Australian. My Australian werewolf.
Angry Australian
My
werewolf
angry
incoming.
That's
There's
not
a
a
trick on
knife.
Barbie.
This is a knife.
There you go.
There you go.
That's Claudia right there.
I love it.
Oh, that'd be funny. No, I actually a really long time ago I was dating a guy who he loved to do voices, and he used to do, this was back in the days of answering machines, and so he used to do like different voices. He would change up the voice on his answering machine like every month or so, and so one time I did it for him, and it was like, "G'day, you've reached," whatever his phone number was. "No one's available to take your call right now, but if you'd like to leave a message, someone will get back to you as soon as we can." And it was like, that's the only voice I can do.
That's good though. That's
Oh,
good.
that's fun.
I like it.
Well done.
So I'm like, well, as soon as I have the occasion to do an Australian character, then maybe I will. But until that time,
I like to take
That's
things
awesome,
silly. Like just started a new campaign, and I'm playing a Night Hagspawn Grave Cleric with Ethel Papaya Morgrew, and it's just fun to just have this ridiculous,
Oh,
Grave
that's
Cleric.
fun.
Ethel.
You're even
Yeah,
doing
Ethel.
the nasal thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I don't know
spent-
them, but I would die for Ethel.
Oh, she's so sweet. She spent nearly the entire first session just rolling animal handling checks on this sturge that started attacking her. So she now has her little baby Boscus, and she's got a little giant mosquito to come around with her.
Giant mosquito.
Adorable.
oh my
I want
gosh.
to pet the dog. I rolled to pet the dog.
Oh, that's funny. That just makes me think of there was a time I hadn't played it yet, but Dragon Age is my favorite like video game.
It's a good
Dragon
choice.
Age Origin, like yeah. And there's a tabletop system for it, a D6 tabletop system for it, and I own it, and I own like the player's handbook for it, but I hadn't played it, and I hadn't played it yet, and then it was on an episode of Tabletop, the Will Wheaton show,
Yep.
and you actually, so you know how you have like your skills in D&D and whatever, well, you have something similar, but there you can also be like, I roll to smell something, I roll to this, I roll to that, I roll to taste something. And so every so often, like you could have like a familiar. And so one of the guys in the game had a familiar that was a lizard. And so every so often he would be like, "Can my lizard taste it?" And so now it's like, that's like my default, like awkward silence situation is like, I'll just be like, "Can my lizard taste it?" So
That needs to
That's
be a shirt
amazing.
with no explanation.
And my lizard taste it.
Just
Oh,
best
my-
chat up line ever.
right. Oh,
On the topic
That's
of
amazing.
voices,
yes.
I do my best, but I can't.
But
I think
But
we
you do
missed
try
like
character voices?
one session, and I totally lost my character's voice. for our
Oh, that
Monday
was
night
very
sessions.
sad. Yeah.
It was sad. I think I have it back, kind of, but it's been a fight not to go Russian.
Ooh.
Franco.
Franco, curse you.
Yeah.
Just that veering all over the world with an accent. It's definitely part of it.
You're a very worldly character, I'm sure.
Yeah.
undoubtedly.
I've had that happen to me before. admittedly, when I find it harder on stream actually because I doubt myself more when the camera's on naturally.
100%.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and if you haven't like decided on that beforehand, yeah.
Right. But, like 5 minutes before we start, DM's like, all right, everyone, introduce yourself in your character voice, say your name, say your class and your whatever. So I can like check the mic levels. And then it's like, hi, I'm Guilty and I will be playing. Like, oh, dude, I didn't decide how they sound.
Just see what happens.
Whenever I just see what happens, they end up a little bit southern. I don't know why that is.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, just a little.
Just
I don't know.
doesn't matter. It's great.
But I also like
awesome.
Giving characters like vocal mannerisms, like peppering in weird turn of phrase, stuff like that. Well, that just butters my muffin.
Yeah.
Things like, can my lizard taste it?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sure I'm going to hear that pop up again somewhere now.
I'm sorry. I'll let it go. I won't say it again.
No, it's fine. It's funny.
No.
Set it free.
She has locked herself in.
It's true. It's
Do
true.
any of you have like touchstones for voices? Like for me, I always like repeat the name, like Thodak. Just Thodak. It just helps you to like get into the.
To fall.
Hoity-toity.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We caught our DM. It was great.
Yeah. Our DM for the Savage Worlds of Darkness is a professional actor and producer in New York City, and so he does really great voices for all of the different NPCs, and some of the NPCs happen to be Irish, and so we busted him coming out of the accent by trying to whisper hoity-toity, and the microphone picked it up, and he has not lived that one down.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hoity-toity.
My Irish one is we have an old GP. Sadly, she's not with us, not at the doctor's surgery anymore. But that's my touchstone for Irish is Dr. McCarthy. Dr. McCarthy.
Dr. McCarthy.
That's good. What about you, Jake? Do you?
No, I haven't really done character voices in any campaigns. I do a lot of character voices at work, so I think I take a break when I game. But maybe that means I should. Maybe I have no excuse now. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta step up my game a little bit.
Chat is asking for your Gollum impression.
Yeah.
Who in chat is asking?
Know your role.
Know your role.
How do they know?
Nick.
Is this a thing?
Nick and I went to
You have a
school
Gollum
together back in
impression?
the day.
You have to do it now.
I did, yeah, but like I'm warmed up to do Gollum. You don't just.
There's
drop
actually
into
no, but all the
Smeagol.
pressure.
I know. Trixie Hobbitses.
Oh my gosh!
It was so good.
That was great.
Professional actor, y'all. Professional.
Yeah, well, there it is. Hope you're proud.
That's a
Mom and
hard
Dad.
one to do. That's really hard to
No,
do
everybody's
that.
got a Gollum
Weird.
now. I'll bet.
No, I can't.
No.
Everybody
I can't make
find
that
your
sound.
Smeagol voice.
This is
I
suddenly
can't do
now a
the
lesson in
Smeagol.
becoming Smeagol.
I am not the one to give that lesson. I'm gonna have a little chat with Nick later. I'll tell you what.
Oh, Nick, you in
Nick,
trouble.
Run, Nick.
know,
Wait,
I-
but is your daughter die? Have a birthday? Find a ring? It's a whole thing.
The whole thing. And it
I
ends
feel
up
like
form.
I lived through the time where it switched over from everyone's got a Gollum voice to everyone's got a Stitch voice.
Oh,
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
From like when I was in
I
middle
can see
school to
that.
when I was in high school and college, it became like, the Stitch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ohana
Yeah.
Yeah.
means family.
Oh, there you go.
So no, not me, but like every person who thinks they can do voices.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't
What are
think
you
I
trying to
can,
say
so I
right now?
don't.
What do
The only
you-
thing
Yeah,
I
what are what?
Yeah, I just made some noises. I don't have any like thinking I can do it or anything.
Oh,
You did. It was great.
Oh my
Thank you.
gosh.
And yours was precious.
Oh,
I see what you
you
did
did
there.
I don't know how much sense this will make to most people, but I always try to do Irish accents, and I do okay, but I almost always end up sounding like a Newfoundlander, so I'm not sure it works.
Dude.
You have such a cool accent, though.
sounds great.
They do. Everything they say is funny. Everything.
It's hilarious.
A Newfie could walk in like this and say, "Oh, my mother died," and you go, "Oh, sorry, no, I don't."
Oh my gosh.
You could be horribly contained laughter.
People just go, "God,
Just
bad."
bite the tongue. Just
Yeah.
I don't know about for y'all, but I think Canada is like a great unexplored territory when it comes to Americans trying to do voices.
Oh God,
That's
yeah.
I've never heard someone
A boot.
really
Actual
kill-
accent.
Yeah, no, I've never heard someone who wasn't Canadian really kill it with a Canadian accent.
Probably the
No,
closest you
they
could get is
try.
like the
They're
Minnesota area.
always too extreme. Like anytime I hear somebody trying to do Canadian accent, over the
Yep.
top, over
Yeah.
the top. So you
Yours
know,
is down. Yours is perfect.
you should be very proud of that.
Yeah.
Flawless. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks. I'm also half Newfie, so
Ah!
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there it is.
I got an in.
One of
Once
our
got chewed out for saying beg
Oh, are you from
as a
Wisconsin?
Canadian.
Oh, Wisconsin.
No, I
they
am
big.
Southern Ontario.
No.
I
Really?
just
So
can't speak, and sometimes I do random accents because words form wrong, and I just run with it.
yeah, we have a guy from Nova Scotia on our Sunday night campaign, and so we like to give him crap because everything is sorry. And so oh sorry.
What?
Sorry, eh?
you don't apologize. You take that back. I'm sorry.
So-
No,
You
I'm
go.
starting apologizing. Apologizing is one thing, but never.
What's wrong with that, eh? You hoser.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
find the more I think about like my accent, especially like with being the English person, I just become more and more posh the way I think about it. And I'm like, do I try not to think about it and just just go back in the ages somehow? End up in like
You sound great.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You
Flawless.
sound posh.
Yeah.
Totally sound
It's incredibly kind of you. Yes, it's lovely to be here.
Oh my gosh.
What you need to do now is the pinky and
Oh,
And the black mini dress.
Oh,
I do look
Sorry,
good in
that's
the
the
black
posh
mini
I
dress.
know.
I bet you
You
do.
do.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I'm looking at the time right now. I'm thinking we're going to take a quick break.
Oh my gosh.
And
already
I
done.
know it's already just about 9:00 Eastern time, and so we're going to take a quick like 5-10 minute break. Let our guests get up, stretch their legs, all that good stuff. And when we come back, we will do the giveaway during the second half of the show for the dice. So stick around for that.
Yay.
And yeah, we will get into some more conversations. There's a few more questions from chat that have come in that we will get to. And yeah, I think that
Have your
does it.
questions ready.
Yes,
We'll
have your questions
jump in.
ready. Stick
for you,
around.
Nick.
Let me make sure that that we're good to go to break.
Do our
That's-
best to answer them, eh?
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hashtag free the pee.
Hashtag free the bee. Oh my god, that was awful. Yeah, a couple it wasn't last week, it was the week prior. We didn't do a
Yep.
show last week, but the week prior, we couldn't get Mike back in time to go to break because he missed my message saying that we needed to go to break. And the audience is going, they need to free the pea, hashtag free the pea. It's like, oh my god.
At least they were on your side. That's good.
It's true, they were. So
I
yeah,
actually,
go ahead.
I came in during break time that week. And
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
was in chat was like, free the pea! I was like, oh no, what have I signed up
I walk
for?
into.
You're like, this channel is awesome.
All right. Well, we will be back in just a few minutes, so stick around for the dice giveaway and more fun and interesting conversation with our guests, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Be kicked.
Well,
Right.
I'll open Twitch again on the phone here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right, we are back. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for hanging out during the break and letting us have a chance to get up and stretch and, take care of pets and whatever else needed to get done. So for those of you in chat who haven't noticed already, some of you have noticed, we have opened the raffle for a set of dice. So I'm actually going to throw it to Jake to talk a little about the dice that he works on and
geez.
design, since that's what we're giving away.
And I'm very excited to take part in that. So thank you for hosting that raffle. That's awesome of you.
Yeah.
So I, being a fan of these games and these worlds, I wanted to kind of, I don't know, just share that a little bit more with people and with the world, I guess, because I think it's rare that you have an actor on a fantasy show who lives for those. And I was like, why am I not capitalizing on this? And not in a financial or monetary way, but just in a way of like using this as a way to now make other dreams come true, I guess. And so I had met the folks behind Die Hard Dice a little bit before. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think how long before I launched Stormforged. Probably a year and a bit. And it was complete happenstance how I met them. I was at the movies, and I feel like, do I have something on my face?
No. She
miss?
was typing something in the group chat, and I saw her typing. And the minute I saw it, I went, "Yes, Sarah, you can enter."
Please do, Sarah. Please do enter.
I'd have more dice
I
if I had
already
the money for
entered.
it.
I love it. I didn't mean to call you out. I apologize. But no, I was at the movies actually, and I had a Critical Role T-shirt on because I'm Matt Mercer and Marisha's wife Marisha and a couple others were some of the first people I met when I moved to LA. So they're very near and dear people to my heart. And someone had gifted me a Critical Role shirt, and I was like, I'm gonna support my friends. And so I was wearing this theater, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I really like your shirt." And I said, "Thank you." And I forget how big Critical Role is. Like I really do forget how massive it really is now. And so I said, "Thank you. It's my friend's show," like an idiot. And he goes, "No, I know." I said, "Okay, cool." And he said, "No, that's awesome. I actually I co-run a dice company nearby." And I said, "Oh, that's awesome. Good for you guys." And they gave me the name Die Hard Dice, and I looked him up, and I ended up visiting when I was in town, and kind of went in, and so that friendship started there. I'm giving you way more info than you want. I apologize.
No, I love it. I'm super curious as to how this all got started.
So cool.
So that happened, and then fast forward a year and a half later, now the show that I'm on is in we're in its second season when I reached out to Die Hard. Now we're shooting our third season. So I said, okay, it has a little more weight behind it now. And so I sent this long email to my now friends at Die Hard Dice. I said, guys, feel free to say no. I want to start doing more of these things. I want to reach out and branch out more. And I think that like the coolest place to start would be dice. I've always thought it would be. I've always loved dice and like just trinkets and artifacts and treasure, you know, shinies, right? We all that kind of magpie appeal. And I said, so I have some ideas, but also you don't have to take them. Like, feel free to say no. My feelings will not be hurt. And to my shock, they responded. They were like, no, we would actually love to. That would be great. What are you thinking? And so I started sketching on set on my iPad all of season 2, and we'd have emails back and forth. And I designed this logo, and then I all I knew is what I wanted it to feel like, which was buried treasure and artifacts and these kind of arcane trinkets that had a little mystery behind them, these antiquities. Because I grew up, you know, watching not only fantasy but Raiders of the Lost Ark and stuff, and I love that. Favorite movie of all time. Anybody who has heard me talk ever, I'm like, Raiders of the Lost Ark. What did you want
One
to
of the
be
best
when you were
movies
Indiana
ever.
Jones?
Right.
Yeah. So now that's out of the way. So I knew I wanted it to be that, and I cannot say enough nice things about Die Hard because they gave me complete free reign. And then I would, and I'm not an artist. I can sketch and I can draw and I can do whatever. And I think I have a decent design up in here, but I am not somebody who's skilled enough to like translate that to anything to share with someone else. So somehow they decoded and worked with me and had amazing ideas that would then spark further ideas. And when I finished season 2 of The Outpost, I would travel out and see them, and they had grown as a company in that time as well. And so we were both kind of, you know, on these stairwells of our own kind of vocations, and that was really fun. But I'd go into these meetings with just a couple people, and we'd fine tune. The logo has changed since I first designed it and I expected it to, but they were like, yeah, you want that on the dice? I was like, yeah. They're like, that's never gonna fit on a D20. And I was like, got it. Let's squish it down. So I designed pretty much everything. And then they would say what was doable and what wasn't. And it was their idea to put a border on the numbers. I hadn't thought of that. I was gonna do like a recessed face. And they were like, you know what might look really great? There's a border with these numbers that we're designing together. So the font is completely custom, the border is completely custom, and then the logo is completely custom. And the first launch set is called Unearthed, and there's 3 color variations: Leviathan, which is a blue and a silver, Sage, which is this copper and green, and then Bloodline, which is this kind of really weathered gold with a blood red.
I love that one. That one's totally my
That's so
favorite.
cool.
I was really worried when that, because and then bless them, the Castle Die Hard, we call it. I was in Castle Die Hard all the time, and they were constantly 3D printing the latest thing that we had come up with, so I could like hold it and see what it would look like. So I have just a box of like gray 3D printed Stormforged dice that never.
Some prototypes.
And then we were like this is 18 plus. Not that what I'm about to say is bad, but I'll say it. But like we were at the final, like we had designed all the numbers and all this stuff, and then we got to the percentiles and put the 2 zeros next to each other, and I was like, oh, those are boobs. We're ready to go, and I have boobs on my dice. So then like that was like a curveball that we didn't expect, and so I ended up flipping one of the zeros and then on 2 axes, and it works great now. But like little things like that you don't think about. So I have all these prototypes, but they were amazing. Like I would bring in a sketch, they would import the sketch, and then they would put it into their software and fix all the things, because then it's now multi-layered and it has to be in these right dimensions, and they have all the algorithms to how deep the characters, you know, can be cut so that the dice stays equal weight-wise as much as it can be. I mean, you know,
The maths behind the physics must be.
That's just it. And so I have none of that. And they were so great at being like, oh, this is what you want. How about this, this, and this? And I would say, I love that. Let's combine those and whatever. So yeah, and sorry, I've now monologued about, this is my baby, by the way, if you can't tell.
I love how excited you are.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like a little
it's 'cause I
kid at
worked on it
Christmas.
from
It's
afar
awesome.
for like 4 or 5 months, and then another probably 4 or 5 in person with them every couple weeks, and we finally launched in November, and I started it in probably February. So so yeah, and so it's really cool to hold these things that, like, you know.
Nice.
And so the next set is, we're going through all the color tests right now, because then you design the colors and the metal finishes and things like that. But in practical application, different colored resins and dyes and things like that won't mix as well on the metal finish, and it changes the shade of the color completely, and then you have to. And again, I'm not the one mixing the powders and mixing the colors, and I am so amazed at them with what they do, and I'll be lost without them. So they're like, so you want it to be like a partnership, like an exclusive thing? I was like, guys, I'm not going anywhere. You have been so amazing work. Don't be silly. I want it to be my own vehicle, but it is 100%. I kept comparing it to, they're probably so sick of me saying it, in every board meeting. I was like, so if we go to Under Armour's website, go to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's line of gear, but like that's what I wanted. Like, let me just choose the wealthiest, most business savvy celebrity on the planet.
Oh, that's
and compare it to D&D. But that's kind of what we aim for. Like, is kind of how he did that.
There are a lot of celebrities that play D&D, so
Yeah.
More and more, yeah. Coming out,
But when you're picking The Rock, you know your role.
Oh man. So yeah, and now they exist, and they're real, and they're physical, and we've had meetings about, I think, the next 3 designs to be released, but we're focusing obviously on the next one, and there's been delays with everything going on in the world. So it has all slowed down, but it is still alive and well. And I'm excited for the next release now.
I'm gonna drop a link in chat so people can take a look at them if they haven't seen them yet.
They're
So
really
just
pretty.
dieharddice.com /storage or /stormoan, or I think even / like we did as many hyperlink shortcuts as we could. But yeah.
Yeah.
Is that for SEO, or is that because you couldn't decide what you liked?
Say that again.
Is that for the search engine, or is that because you kept giving people different links?
No, that was just because, what was it?
Probably SEO.
I don't remember. I think I did a shout out or an interview or something, and the link they gave was off by like 1 letter.
Yeah.
It was a very valid, like you would look at it and go, yeah, that would take you there.
That
right?
should make sense.
Oh,
yeah.
And then we went, we should probably just think of as many as we can if you guys are willing. And they're like, no, that's an easy fix. That's fine.
Quick with the redirect.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So many redirects.
Sturmfurged.
That's the line that has the boob dice, right?
Sturmfurged.
That's the one.
That'll be the next line.
I think chat agrees with me. We want a limited run of the boob D.
I was noticing that.
Did people really say that? I got to pull it. I keep trying to check my.
Yeah, there was a couple of people that were like, how much for the boob dice? ISO boob dice.
That was my main takeaway. You had a box of grey boobs that no one had actually rolled yet. That's what I heard.
I would argue if there was anything to it.
Yes. IP a lot says 100% in for boob dice.
It's funny though, because those are
I love his name so much.
Boob dice. I didn't want to announce it, but that is the second line of. It's funny because those are the things that you don't even think about go into the design of anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden you go, we've got a row of a custom font from 0 to 9. It's beautiful. We've tweaked every number countless times. We've done 3D test runs to make sure it's readable. It can be, and then with my dice, because it's this kind of arcane type of font almost. There are places where painting it and injecting dye into it is going to be tough. So we had to make sure that even if the 3D print worked, that when it goes to manufacturing, that works. And so we think we're all ready, and then you get to the percentile and you go, Oh shit. And then it's like, then there's a whole discussion of like, is everybody going to have their mind in the gutter like we do? Do we even need to worry about it?
Oh, absolutely. We
And
absolutely
you're
would.
you're like, yeah, I think we do.
Nah.
And I think we need to change it.
That's-
But I'm very glad to hear that that chat is so accepting
Yes.
of
So,
where
yes.
my mind originally went.
yeah.
Sounds more like demanding. Boob
Yeah.
dice, boob dice, boob dice.
The community embraces
I gotta
it.
open this up.
They want
They're gonna-
those boob dice.
They want the boob dice.
And
Give
they
the
want 'em
people
in a
what they
quick
want.
I am gonna have to post a photo at least.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Take a screenshot of it.
Thank you all for
We'll
following
highlight
my
this whole section for
rambling
you and-
story.
And you can send it to your friends over at Die Hard.
My manager
Oh,
will
yeah.
call me after this and be like, "Did you just do an interview about yes,
About
Marco?
boob dice?
Go on. What is it? What does he want to say?" And the answer is yes.
That is some D&D dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Oh,
love our
boy.
chat. They're fantastic. Well, again, exclamation point enter for for anybody who has not yet entered the I can't even talk anymore.
Hey,
I blame
Jake,
myself.
Dice.
If you want
I
to win
feel
not boob
like-
dice, exclamation point enter. If you want to win boob dice, you're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry.
I feel
have
like
to
I
wait,
pointed
but-
out that the URL is free. Boobdice.com. Buy it now.
It was
Get
free.
that domain.
Someone's gonna scoop it up, and I'm gonna have to pay for it. Pay premium for it. And
Right?
it'll be you. You'll be hiding behind it. Yeah, exactly. You and
Oh
your
my
6-foot
gosh.
Stein that your head appears behind.
Yeah, let's change gears. Let's talk for a minute about your cup.
Oh,
Oh, my cup?
Yeah.
It's got doves on it.
oh, I love that.
Got little
That's
doves.
love.
Yeah.
I like it.
This one was a
That is very
birthday
nice.
gift. My
Ooh.
partner made it. It's got my name on it.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
pretty.
It's also
Massive.
burned into
Do
the
you go
bottom
camping in
there.
it?
I love it.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Huh?
It is really cool. I said, do you go camping in it?
Yeah,
It's really cool.
Glamping, surely.
Beautiful.
It's
Oh,
been to
really?
Ren Fair, but
Very
it
good.
hasn't been camping yet. Yeah.
It belongs there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss Ren Fair this season.
Nah.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like it just have fairs because we still live that way in England. It's just bizarre never having like seeing all these Ren fairs things people and like North America go to, and it's just like I want to play. But we still just have castles anyway.
Oh, that's so cool though.
I know. There was a woman that I met one time who was originally from England, and I remember, it's funny because she's a realtor here in New England, and so the houses, some of the houses around here are fairly old, about I want to say, like, there are some you'll find that are still from like the 1700s, early 1800s. And so it was funny talking to her one time because she was like, yeah, she's like, it's really weird talking about these old houses when there are houses where I came from that still have thatched roofs.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
Blew my mind. I was like, I can't even imagine what that would be like. But all right, so I'm going to grab a few more questions that came in from chat. Let's see. We had the question came in, what's the most number of games you've been involved in at one time?
Think-
6? I want to say
Wow.
weekly.
Regular, like ongoing.
Mhm.
Wow.
I'm so okay. Quarantine hit when I was
4.
dying, so I'm like, thank God, there go all of my IRL games online.
I think 4. I was in 2, and then quarantine hit, and 2 got added. It doubled.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
the
think that's
opposite
the
of
most.
me.
Oh no, really?
I'm
think-
definitely feeling the opposite.
I had a weekly Wednesday night game that has been stopped, and then No, I wrapped up a campaign that I was DM.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go.
Those are the 2 campaigns I dropped out of. Yes.
I've only been in one at a time just because my schedule's so crazy. It's hard enough to show up for one.
Yeah.
So I'm envious and also very impressed by all of you who are juggling that many ongoing campaigns at once.
Okay. The reason I can do it is because I don't have a job. So
That sounds like a job,
all
to
the
be
free
fair.
time in the world
Right.
Does help.
until I go to school.
I'm currently in 3, and that's the most I've ever had at one time. But then I have this too, which is not like playing a game, but I get to talk about games, which is fun. So it's like
Collaborative storytelling.
yeah, I call it like 3.5.
Yep.
So
And those of you who are running multiple campaigns right now, is that all same game system? So is that like all 5e? Are you all
Mhm.
placed? And do
No.
you have trouble keeping that straight?
I don't, because 2 of mine are Pathfinder, and one
Okay.
of mine is the Savage Worlds, World of Darkness, the Savage Worlds of Darkness combination, and their rule sets are so vastly different, and my characters are so vastly different that there's really no way that I could.
So you're rolling completely different dice. It's not.
I mean, it's still
know what I mean?
using a polyhedral set, but it's
Right.
it's just the dice
It's
that you
very
roll for different things are different.
Just pulling out the non-Euclidean dice.
Yeah.
Yep. We actually never use the D20.
Yeah, I don't think
Really?
we've ever used it
Yeah.
for that.
Interesting.
I think everything I have is a D4, a D6, or a D8.
2 of the games I'm playing are in 5th edition. One of them is in City of Mist, which is just 2d6. And then the 4th one is do you guys remember when the little fast food chain Wendy's came out with a D&D module?
Yeah.
Will do.
Did you play
It
that?
wasn't actual D&D. Yeah. I had a friend who, because of quarantine, was like, I want to get into, I want to try DMing again for like the first time since high school. And I was like, yes, I will definitely play. And then they were like, we're going to play the Wendy's game. I was like, I'm not going to knock it till I've tried it.
There you go.
I really
is
thought you
fun.
just said,
Oh,
I'm not going
lovely
to knock it
experience.
till I fried it.
Oh,
That would have been genius.
right?
I apologize for the pun. No, I genuinely thought that's what you said. And I almost, haha, and then you kept talking. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
But
That
no,
is
it's really bad. I mean, the materials are interesting and kind of fun, but like the system is very underdeveloped, which you would expect for something that was just like a media blitz.
gimmicky kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A gimmick.
Yeah.
But actually trying to play it is like, okay, which 5th edition rules make sense here and which don't? Because I can kind of tell what they're going for, but also not. And like a lot of things are being homebrewed, which has actually made it kind of fun. So
yeah.
Okay.
there
How
are
about you,
classes.
Nick?
Gonna have to try some Wendy's D&D.
There are classes, but not races, which is also interesting. So it's like,
Okay.
am I actually a chicken nugget? Or am I a human?
I
some
would
questions you
absolutely be
probably
a
don't
chicken
wanna-
nugget. I'm
yeah,
just
wanna
going to tell you right
Am
now.
I a man or am I a nugget?
Nugget of a man.
Oh, I
Better
love it.
know.
Wow. And now
The
it's
big
on the internet
questions.
forever.
The big questions.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, let's see. We had another couple come in. Let's see. Have you ever created a campaign?
Yes, but it went horribly.
I'm right at the very beginning stages of creating a one shot.
I like to.
Oh, go ahead, please.
I like to take adventures and then like build things from them. Like so, have these pre-made adventures, and then there's a whole just go wild on the making things around it. Also, like the idea of like remixing and mixing stuff. Like I had this idea of like retelling of Curse of Strahd, but mixing it with like the Magic the Gathering Innistrad when the Eldrazi came. So it's this whole weird kind of Cthulhu-esque concept of Strahd. Yeah.
And was that something you moved forward with, or you were thinking about going with?
It was a big plan and lots of fantasizing, but it never quite got to playing. But it's definitely something I want to do. But like, yeah,
cool.
If you decide you'd like to play it with an internet buddy, look me up. Because that sounds really cool. Anybody else?
Making one for my kids, but I still haven't done it.
Wait, how do you approach that?
Actually, one of the things I was thinking about, I was actually going to start making my own whole world, because it's not just I have my kids and then my older brother, his daughter, and they all want me to put a game together for them. So I thought, why not create something specific for them?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Thinking about it.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are your kids?
16 and 18.
Oh wow, that would be very cool.
They still want to hang out with me.
Play, yeah.
I love it.
I don't know.
My daughter is 12.
They don't have
we're kind of in
much choice at this point, do they?
They still hang out with me and watch anime together and all kinds of stuff.
I love that. That's awesome.
I love it.
Sounds like you're doing it right.
Totally.
We'll find out. Do you ever see in the news nerdy chicken kids go crazy and riot? It's not me.
It's a good headline, to be fair.
It wasn't me.
Those Canadians up to it again.
Right? I know.
Sorry, guys.
Crazy Canadians.
We are the wild ones.
We always have to keep you guys under control. Keep it down up there. All right. And Patchter0730 would like to know, what system have you not played that you would like to try?
I have a great mine is on the tip of my brain, but I have to look it up.
Aether and Steamworks, I'm gonna be honest.
Aether and Steamworks, no kidding.
It's designed to be hilarious, but I haven't had the chance to play it.
So for those of you who go ahead, Sarah.
You want me to do the shout out? Sure.
Go for it. Yeah.
So at Dice Tyrants, we have a lovely person named Tiberius who created his own game system called Aether and Steamworks over the year that he was streaming with us, and he runs a campaign with it now, and he's working on 1.5, and it looks like a lot of fun, but I'm looking at it like I want to play that, but I've been too many games already.
Yeah. Oh, Sanan is in chat. He just said it's the best.
Thank you, Sanan.
Sanan, we were definitely not talking about you earlier.
Nope, not at all.
Sanan is the DM for our Savage Worlds of Darkness game, so
Cool.
the poor guy cannot keep us under control.
He hates them. He hates them so
Plungers.
much.
Yeah.
He hates
Super
them.
cool that it's
Man, I hate her plungers.
Oh my gosh. He says, no, I'm concerned. Yeah. So the one for me, I've never played it, but I hear nothing but good things about it, is Fate. So I would like to try that. And I'd like to get a little more into trying like the Vampire the Masquerade / World of Darkness stuff and get a little more familiar with that too.
I'd actually like to get more familiar with that one too, yeah.
I really want to get into all the itch.io games. There's just so many awesome, just little games, even the like one page like journaling stuff. There's just so much like really cool indie stuff, and I just keep like buying it or collecting it and just never getting a chance to play. There's like awesome like Deep Anyway makes some amazing stuff. And it's just, yeah, I really would like to have a campaign that's not a campaign. It's just playing different things.
Different systems, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Cool.
Get a group together and play something new, a new indie game every week or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
that would be
really
really
great
fun.
idea.
Cool. So we've got a whole system of campaigns that we're all going to start playing with each
Right?
other.
I know.
We have everything set up. We're set for life now.
Right?
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
Until we go to the farm.
Of course, yeah. Got to keep going till we beat Sarah's record.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the amount of inside jokes that have been created or resurfaced just in this hour and a half.
It's
or 2
fantastic.
hours of-
I love
yeah.
it.
It happens
love
every
it.
time.
The
All
one, the campaign or the system that I want to try is called The Dying World, and
never heard of that.
it's you play it with tarot cards,
Oh wow.
Oh, that's
Right?
neat.
and
That does
that's
sound
all I
neat.
needed to hear to be like, oh, that's cool,
Like
Now you
sign
want
me
to go
up.
play that in
Wanna
the
do it.
graveyard.
huh?
Go play that in the graveyard.
When we're allowed out again,
No.
That's another
There's a
T-shirt as
whole
well.
lot of-
go play that in a
Jake's-
graveyard.
Jake's completely out of that one.
Sit that one out.
Oh,
Hear from
man.
afar.
Yeah, it is. Friend sent it to me. It's written by Jamila Najati, and it looks really cool.
It
It does
sounds
sound
cool.
very. That's yeah. I haven't heard of anything like that before. That's very cool.
I like the idea of just have different things. Everyone loves Math Rocks, but different ways of playing games. It's like
Yeah.
Malifaux, the tabletop game, uses like it's a pack of cards. So it's just really interesting how different. Yeah, everyone loves polyhedral stuff, but
I'm
just
amazed
spoons
at
to
some of
play
the things
something.
people are coming up with. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. Some people are just ingenious.
Mm-hmm.
People are so creative. I mean, it just blows my mind that like people can come up with these things and
Right.
work it until
And-
it is a system that works.
And they're so intricate too. They're so well thought out.
Especially
no,
some
that's
of the new
awesome.
board games and stuff. Holy. Oh my gosh.
So that makes me
Oh,
curious.
yeah.
Do any of you guys ever go to cons, like gaming cons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to like specifically for board games or
Well, just in general, but
stuff.
like I go to PAX East every year, and PAX East, the primary focus is video games, but there's a sizable tabletop section as well. And I'm always floored every year I go at both the stuff that I see that I'm like, oh, great, that game is back again, because that's a really awesome game. And the stuff that comes out that I'm like, how did you even come up with this? And why is it so fun? Like that sort of thing.
I dream of going to them. They're just so far away.
Yeah.
I had my tickets to go to Gen Con this year.
Oh.
I guess I still do have them.
Oh.
I have.
Are they,
had
are they
a
doing a
whole bunch-
virtual one?
I don't know, but I was supposed to meet a whole bunch of friends and some of my artists and stuff, and now I'm all sad. I was gonna meet MC Etching Nix,
sorry.
the guy who does all the glass etching and stuff.
Yeah, his
I
stuff
was
is
gonna room
awesome.
with him, and we were gonna hang out, and now I'm really sad.
That's
Oh,
truly heartbreaking. Everyone's just glorious punk uncle. Oh,
yeah. He's,
Oh.
I love his stuff.
I love Nix. I love him. I'm glad he's taken off, especially since they fired him at his job.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
that
I know.
sucks. So talented, and just a person that exudes love for people all the time. It's just wonderful.
that's me and Cat of Diamonds, who I see in chat right now, and a bunch of other Twitch cosplay people. We're supposed to go to Emerald City Comic Con.
Oh
no.
week after Seattle was quarantined.
Yeah.
So I got all our tickets right here.
Aw.
No, it's so.
I know. I feel like so phenomenally lucky that PAX East got in right under the wire because it was the tail end of February into the 1st of March.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it was literally right as stuff started shutting down. And like Sony had pulled out, Square Enix pulled out a lot of their people for their panels and things that were going to happen.
Close.
It was really close. But you know, I mean, they still had I mean, a phenomenal turnout. The building itself holds about 45,000 people, and attendance wise, I felt like it was still pretty much the same as it is every year.
Wow.
But it it was just, I mean, I like after it was all over, I was like, yeah, I'm so glad we got that in. And then as time kind of started going on, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad we got that in, you know, because it hadn't quite made it to the East Coast yet. You weren't hearing reports of anything here. So yeah.
Everyone's got to
Strange
stay
world we find
inside
ourselves
so we
in.
can go to Dragon Con.
Right.
I know.
Exactly. Dragon Con is on my bucket list.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
That's the only convention that it's in Atlanta over
Georgia,
Labor Day.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the only convention I've gone to every single year, despite moving from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's
impressive.
you know, when you go to a
PAX.
con that long, it becomes a family reunion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gone to PAX East for 9 years, and it's just like that. Sebs, I'll come over to Gamescom. That's on my bucket list too. So, you know, I've got friends in Germany, so we'll all meet up there.
Sounds good. I barely get out of the house anyway, but I'll do my best.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. I'm trying to look and see what else we have for questions.
Are we doing that one question?
Yeah, I'm terrified.
I would like to, but we're
Remind
running
you
really
about-
low on time. So the question that has come up, I'm going to put it out there, but I'm not sure we're going to have a whole lot of time to get into debate about it. There was a
Darn.
question that came up last night. So the group here has been prepared for this question already. There was a question that came up last night, and I'm not going to get into the details about why the character was evil, but suffice it to say there was an NPC in the game that is an evil character. The alignment of the character is evil based on the things that they did. We knew that this person was evil. The character ended up being, at the beginning of a fight, was tied to a chair and gagged, so he couldn't cast anything. And then after the fight was over, stuff happened. Then we got back, and then two of the party members ended up essentially dumping him into a river while he was tied to the chair and couldn't fight back. So this then led to the question, is murdering an evil person an evil act? Or is, more broadly, is murder always evil in a campaign?
I was going to say,
So-
this whole discussion is in the TRPG campaign,
Yes,
correct?
yes, yeah, in the context of the
Just making sure.
TRPG.
This is
Just
real
making
murder,
sure.
right?
Not real murder.
You guys didn't tie someone to a chair and throw them in a river, right?
Oh,
Right. Right, and actually,
just before somebody draws parallels to a real
Right.
life is all I was saying.
and
That's all I
and
was
Mac Jackal Ranger makes a good point. He says murder or
Good-
killing.
Good point, Jake.
So yes, it came up in the game last night. It actually, we led into our break with it and then came out of the break with it. And there was some very interesting discussion on either side. So I'm curious to know if any of you have thoughts. If you don't want to get into it, that's okay. But I said I would at least put the question out there. So
I
Who's
And
going
everybody's
to
like,
jump in first?
I try and keep like having things like torture and straight up murder not be a thing in my games, or at least have them not be successful necessarily. But like, I get into a whole thing like, where's the evil coming from? Like, are they being controlled by some kind of evil entity or god? Then it's not really their fault. Is this coming from some kind of like madness or mental problem? Then that's not really their fault. I kind of come down and probably makes you the bad person too.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of argument on either side. And I think that's where you can get really into the morality of your character and, you know, that sort of thing. But I don't know.
Definitely,
I think it's
character motivation like is completely away from like whether they actually think is moral or not. Because like paladins can be lawful good and just do terrible things.
Right. Yeah.
But to them, it's lawful. What they're doing is lawful because the person they're killing is unlawful.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I agree with chat too. There's a difference between murder and manslaughter here.
Yep.
Was it premeditated?
Yeah, in this case, I mean, I can't speak for the
Definitely.
character that did it, but in this particular case, it happened after a battle had ensued. So, you know, we were finishing up the fight, and tying the person to the chair was a means of trying to subdue him so we could elicit information. Therefore, when the character did not give that information, that is when he then got dumped into the river.
I mean, it's dark no matter how you
Absolutely.
how you frame it.
A lot
There's
of
no getting around that for sure.
a lot of the characters were just like, that's a thing that just happened. I'm gonna leave the room now.
So it was one character.
It was really two characters that did it.
Okay.
And then one was outside, and the other two of us were in the room, and we're just like not involved. So
For me, it's pretty cut and dry, even though the person wasn't after it happened.
yeah.
I bring a little bit of levity to it.
so would it be considered murder that I didn't try to get that guy out of the purple world?
Right. And that's when you get into all of it. Like, well, did I help murder that person if I didn't try to stop them? Like, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's a lot of.
If I were to talk about this from the kind of characters I play, from their point of view, they'd be like, I have no qualm with murdering. I'm still a good person. And then
What needs to be done, right?
my character on Sunday nights has literally just slit the throat of a dude who was like unarmed, almost passed out on the ground, because she just didn't need people getting away as witnesses, and he was on the bad side. So there he goes. But Fremen
I know
makes a good
character
point.
creation
Yeah.
and backstory and alignment does come into it so much too.
Yeah.
That too.
And then that almost splits the question right between like the original question that you asked, is it always this or that in a campaign, versus is it okay if the character if it's true to the character? That's almost a separate question in and of itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It is. It's a tough one.
I always have a hell of a time with alignment just to begin with. Like when I'm making a character, it's just like, I mean, lawful, does it, what laws am I talking about? Is there a moral code? Is it the laws
there a
of
deity
land?
involved?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a god?
Lawful to the anarchist cookbook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
I think there's definitely a lot that it boils down to, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna move us on to something else because we are getting fairly close to time. Let me see if I can get Mike back so we can draw a winner for the dice. Because
good.
that would be fun. Draw
math rocks,
right.
Math rocks.
So we'll get him back to do that so we can announce the winner before before the end of the day. Yes, last chances, ! Enter if you haven't had the chance to enter for dice. It is a set of Stormforged dice from Die Hard Dice. And Yes, boob dice.
Chat chanting boob dice, boob
Boob
dice.
dice.
I got Twitch open. I'm like, what have I done?
Right? I know. Oh my gosh. Good times, good times. All right. So 30 seconds, it's going to be closing. So get your last minute entries in now. And oh, nice timing, Nate's Knife Pit. He just got here.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And let's see. Okay, yes. And a reminder too, the winner has to be here. So if you're not in chat, make sure somebody gets you in chat, because you need to be here in order to claim the dice. So we'll give them about a minute after we draw a winner. And we're picking the name. It is Patchter0730. You have won a set of dice.
Congratulations.
Patchter, if you are in chat. Yeah, there he is. All right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Amazing.
Nice job.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. So if you would either send me why don't you send me a DM and I will work on getting that redeemed for you. So we will work on getting those to
hand
you.
deliver them.
I don't know about that. Not under quarantine, I won't.
No, that's right. There's an easy.
Yes.
Cannot.
Yeah.
I love that everyone was just like, "Oh, congrats!" Oh, it
Congrats.
wasn't.
Oh, I
Okay.
really wanted
That's
those.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I didn't want them anyway. That's fine.
Sorry.
Whatever. Yeah. So congratulations. Yes. Send me a message. And we will make sure that that we get those redeemed for you. And so we are just let's see. Sorry, I've got a message popping up. Oh yeah. Duh, Patch from Discount Dungeons. Yeah. Just reach out to me. We'll be good. And yeah, so just connect with me after. We will get those out to you as soon as we can. And so we are gonna wrap it up actually, because we are just about out of time. So I'm gonna just again we'll go around and we'll have you all remind us of who you are and where we can find you and all the great stuff that you guys are up to. So I'm gonna go in reverse order from when we started. So Jake, we're gonna start with you.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm typing my social media handle into chat. There we go. Okay, so JakeStormoen, actor on a crazy show, creator of some crazy dice. Thank you for having me. And just at JakeStormoen, so just my name on all fronts, Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram, all the rest of it. And I put that in chat just now. So thank you so
Perfect.
much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Jake just moved today, so he took a break out of his moving day to be here with us. So I greatly appreciate that.
All good. All good.
Let's see. Nerdy Chicken.
I'm Nerdy Chicken. You can go take a look at my shop, nerdychicken.ca. You can find me at ChickenlyNerd on Twitter and Instagram, and there's also a Facebook Nerdy Chicken, so you can there. That's about it for me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Perfection.
being on here with us.
I
It was a
know.
lot of fun getting
No,
to
I'm
chat.
so bad at this.
Come on.
Okay. You did a great job. It was awesome. And we loved having you on. Sebs.
I'm CurseofSebs, mainly just on Twitter and Ko-fi or Coffee or however anyone says that. I'm the werebear of hype. See my reviews on there and on DM's Guild and Drive Through and stuff. And yeah, come say hi. And if you got something that you're making or doing, I'll happily hype it and share it and wave my little werebear pom-poms for you. And thank you
Yes.
so much for having
Love
me.
Thank
It's
you
really
so
been
much
an
for
absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for staying up so late for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
it's definitely
kidding.
worth it.
Yes,
No
absolutely.
kidding.
I'm so glad we got the chance to chat. And yes, Sebs is one of the most positive people I've ever seen on Twitter. So,
Bless you.
definitely
Bless
drop them a follow and say hi. And Yeah. Big fan.
Thank
And Guilty.
All right. Thanks again for having me. I'm Guilty. You can find me everywhere on the internet at GuiltyCosplay. I stream on Sundays and Tuesdays at 9 o'clock Pacific on my channel, twitch.tv/GuiltyCosplay. And on Mondays at 7 and every other Sunday with Total Party Chill, which is twitch.tv/TotalPartyChill. So
Excellent.
it's been so great. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much. Again, I'm glad our schedules finally lined up so we were able to do this.
Yeah.
And Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. You can find me on Dice Tyrants, streaming D&D and Savage Worlds Sundays and Mondays. You can also find me on Twitter at MidnightXion with a 0. I try to do
Yes.
art.
And yeah, thanks for coming to hang out with me tonight. And
Thank you.
and yeah, thank you again.
Luna. Mom Luna.
Thank you. Yes, I am Luna, Gamer Mom Luna on all social media, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find me here on the How I Nerd channel on Sunday nights for our Tabletop Tavern, which runs at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is our first Pathfinder show, our flagship show for the channel. It's been going for close to a year now. You can catch me over on the Dice Tyrants on Monday nights, or you can come here and hang out and watch Neural Nexus Zero, which is at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's our 1980s cyberpunk show, and it is fantastic. Really, really great group of people in that one. And then Tuesday nights, we take the night off here on the channel because we all like to sleep a little bit. And then on Wednesday nights, we have our second Tabletop Tavern 2. It's very creatively named. And that is a second Pathfinder campaign with a whole new set of characters, a whole new setting, a different storyline. And that is also at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then every Thursday night here on Tales from the Tavern, also at 8 p.m. Eastern, we go from 8 to 10. And we get to sit around and have a bunch of great people talk about all things nerdy. And this is probably my favorite show of the week, but don't tell everybody else. We are going to do a raid. We are going to raid Indigo Chameleon.
I can hear you guys again.
Yay!
Oh no,
Oh,
you
God.
lost it.
Thank God. I'm sorry. I was feeling so bad because I wasn't going to be able to say goodbye.
Oh no.
Oh.
All right. Well, we are going to raid the Indigo Chameleon, who is a member of the Storytellers Union, which is our stream team that we started here with the How I Nerd channel. It is a stream team explicitly for TTRPG content streamers, where we can kind of help each other grow and learn and build from each other and help grow this really, really rad space that we've been able to start, building up on Twitch. And so we're going to go show them some love. If you're a subscriber to the channel, make sure you stick around for the raid, drop those emotes, tell them who sent you, and show them a little bit of love. They're a really great group over there. So
Awesome.
thank you guys again for being here. I loved getting to meet all of you and chat about stuff. And congratulations, Patch, for winning the dice. That was a great show. So
Thank you so much.
thanks again, and we will catch you next week here on Tales from the Tavern. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much.
Hashtag boob dice.
I'm
I'm just reading chat, guys.
I know, right? Oh my God.